G-O-T-T-O-G-O. Eberflus has got to go. When will this nightmare just end? I just want some happiness. This team is so freaking cursed. First off, I'm not that clever to come up with the G-O-T-T-O-G-O, Eberflus has got to go line. That's something I got and I read, I think last week after the loss against New England. And I instantly, once I saw it, I was like, this is how I have to start the video if they lose to Green Bay. And how fitting. There's not more perfect time to use something like that than in that scenario right there with that abhorrent ending. First off, if you're watching this channel for the 11th time this season, welcome back to this clown show. If you're watching this channel for the first time this season, maybe the first time ever, maybe the first time in a couple of years, welcome back. Do you like my pain and suffering? You do. Oh, I know you do. I know you do. Because why would you view this video if it's not some Bears fan crashing out after another loss to the Packers? My voice is already gone. It's already shot. And, I want to say welcome back to this absolute clown show. Welcome back to this clown show, everyone. I'm Alex, your host. The Bears lose 20-19 to the Green Bay Packers. This is something I've said now. This is the 9th time I've said Bears lose to the Packers. We are now in year 5 of me doing videos on the Bears, and I still have not covered a Bears-Packers win for Chicago. Isn't that fun? I wasn't a sophomore. Caleb Williams was a sophomore in high school last time they won against the Packers. I was a junior in high school. So, by the way, I've graduated college. I think that's probably a pretty important thing to add in that comment. I'm happy you're all here. Watch me lose my mind. But Bears fans, isn't this the worst way to lose a game? Not just the fact of the way that game ended, but just the fact that, everyone had no expectations going in this game. Everyone was ready for a 45-0 shellacking. Everyone was waiting and just begging for the Packers to win 35-7 and just walk out of there with a dominating win and take their win and go on to San Francisco next week. But no, it's not how it works in this rivalry. It's not how it works. Bears, the most frustrating part about this rivalry, Bears have to give you hope. They always have to give you hope. But you can't buy into it. You have to learn. And I tell myself every time, I'm not going to buy into the hope. I'm not going to buy into the hope. I'm not going to buy into it. I'm not going to buy into it. Just beat us badly, and I'll go home, and I'll sulk about it, and I'll be fine. Just do it. Green Bay just likes to toy with their prey. Speak specifically the Bears, because they've lost to the Lions and the Vikings, in recent times, just this year. The Packers, they like to just toy with the Bears. They like to tell you, here, take the win. You're in a 3rd and 19 scenario. Your quarterback just made the 2 biggest throws of his career. Just drive down the field. We'll give you a field goal attempt. Just make the field goal attempt. It's that simple, right? Just go up there and kick a 46-yarder. It's not that hard, right? In concept. No. You gotta really toy with them and wait till the very end to break their hearts. Oh, and you know what's going to happen? This play is going to be played for ages. Just like the 4th and 8 play. Just like the I Still Own You play. Just like Randall Cobb coming back in 2018. I don't know, that play doesn't have a nickname, but, Aaron Rodgers' comeback when he hurt his foot in the second half or whatever it's called. You got let's see what else. The Bears had that lateral play that was taken out at like the 5-yard line. 2019. Those are the ones I can think of right now. Just that I can think of off the top of my head. You got the Bears playing close with Green Bay in a 2016 season that the Bears were just straight downright awful. I can keep going. Do you want me to keep going? You can practice about not buying into hope, not buying into the optimism all you want. It's really hard not to when your team's down 1 point. You can drive down the field and kick a field goal for the win. It's not that hard. You can do it. And you just buy into it and say, oh my God, it's going to happen. They're finally going to do it. But no. You got to suspend your hope. You got to suspend it. You got to lock it away in a chest. Throw the key away until they find a way to win against the Packers. Because it's just not going to happen. Look, I know a lot of people are watching me in this channel for the first time ever. My most viewed video of all time was the I Still Own You game. That's one of the greatest crash outs I've ever had in my entire life. It's one of the greatest meltdowns I've ever had in my entire life. I still can't go back and watch that thing. It makes me cringe too much. That game was 3 years ago, by the way. Hard to believe we're here now with another just excruciating loss. And yeah, Bears fans, how are you feeling? Second time in 4 weeks, you have a just bizarre, brutal way to lose a game like this. Like, this is a moment where you're like, this team's cursed. It has to be, right? It has to be. Either that, or Matt Eberflus is cursed. And this is where you go, well, you gotta fire him. You gotta fire him. I mean, I don't know. I gotta wait for it to come in. But you assume that the Bears would have had a 95% at least before that field goal attempt, right? The chance to win, right? So that would be maybe, 6 losses that Matt Eberflus has had with a 95% chance to win? The dude's a choke artist. The dude's an absolute choke artist and is an absolute clown and should have been fired 4 weeks ago. He should have been fired after the Hail Mary. But no. I just can't believe we're sitting here again after another historic loss for the Chicago Bears. I mean, when in the Matt Eberflus tenure we had a historic win or something like this? Someone please tell me, because it hasn't happened. During Matt Eberflus' tenure, for those who are unfamiliar, they had a 21-point lead against the Denver Broncos at home, who, by the way, both teams were 0-3 in that game, and they lost. They had a 11-point lead against the Detroit Lions on the road last season with 3 minutes to go. Lost that game. They had a double-digit lead against the Lions at home the year prior, going into the fourth quarter, I think. That one's not, I don't remember that one as clear, but they still lost that game. You have a 10-point lead going into the fourth quarter against the Cleveland Browns last year. You have, you let up a Hail Mary against the Washington Commanders, and then you have this, whatever the hell this is. I mean, that is 6 right there. 6. It's comical at this point. Again, my voice is gone. It's comical. Matt Eberflus is a perennial choke artist, and we were saying this before the season even started. Oh my gosh. Okay, my voice is way gone. I gotta tone it down. Can someone explain to me the psychology of all this? Because I genuinely want to know how it is possible for me to just have this type of hope every time in the fourth quarter when the Bears have the lead. And it's like, I also knew it was coming. I knew something was coming, right? You know, Packers are down at the goal line, 4th and goal, I think it was early in the 4th. And then the Bears find a way to stop them. I mean, that was the first moment where I'm like, hold up. Things might be different. Don't have hope, guys. Don't have hope. Bears can't do anything. They decide not to be aggressive, go for the 4th down. They punt it away. And then Christian Watson makes a nice, what a great catch. Nice diving catch. It was close. It was close, but it was still a catch. It wasn't, they weren't going to turn it over. And yeah, it's like, gets up, no one's there. Takes it all the way down inside the 15. And then, yeah, Jordan Love scrambles in. I thought he got it the first time with the dive. I thought he got in. I mean, it doesn't matter. He got on the next play. But I'm like, okay, all right. You know, they maybe scored a little too quick, right? You know, there's about a little less than 3 minutes left. All right. Caleb Williams go down and make some plays. I know you're a rookie. You've had a couple really, really bad games. Go show why they picked you first overall. And he did. He took 2 bad sacks to start the drive, but it was the response. Ducking out of a sack and finding Rome Odunze right, I think it was 3 yards short of the first down, a nice throw, and then probably one of the best throws of his career on the fade where Rome Odunze has to track it down right on the sideline. Beautiful throw. Finds Keenan Allen on the next play. Caleb Williams put this team in a position to win this football game. And you can argue about that all the time, but I mean, the Bears don't have a chance to even kick that field goal if Caleb Williams doesn't drive them down the field and make a couple really nice throws. But of course, just like against Washington, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Does not matter. Because guess what? Lost football game. I mean, I'm at a loss of words. I'm at a loss of words, guys. You talk about the way that this team has come out of the bye, right? They're now on a 4-game losing streak, by the way. Come out of the bye. Caleb Williams leads 2 drives to put the Bears in front. One of them was one of the worst play calls I've ever seen in my entire life, handing off to a backup fullback who was a center on the goal line, and he fumbles it. And then he leads another drive right after. Bears take the lead. Then the defense chokes away the Hail Mary. Then there are 2 games against Arizona and New England. They just look dead. They don't want to play. They look like they do not want to play for this coaching staff at all. And you're talking, someone has to go, right? Someone has to get fired. Because the Bears are apparently this proud organization that doesn't fire people mid-season. We're too good for that. We're too good at people for that. At some point, it's tough love. You got to fire someone. And they fire Shane Waldron. We all knew that Shane Waldron would be the scapegoat. And frankly, he was a big part of the problem for that offense. I mean, you look how that offense played. How in the world they score only 3 points last week with how they looked? Like, Bears didn't turn it over. Had a cut. I think there was 2 punts. I don't know, whatever. But the offense was looking a little bit more methodical. They were extending drives, and that was something the Packers were doing too. I mean, there were only like 6 drives in that first half. No wonder the score is like 10-7. They're moving down the field. They're getting something going on offense. They look like a competent group. They're utilizing their skill position players in places they excel at. DJ Moore was able to actually take a wide receiver screen and do something with it because guess what? You had the correct blocking scheme. So, there's some simple stuff like that, and there's a lot of positives to take away from this offensively. Honestly, I know they scored 2 touchdowns in this game. They did not score a touchdown in the last 2 games. That right there is an immediate improvement. Ugh. This is all like this. I hate that I'm in this position again. Right? We're sitting here like, well, I mean, Matt Eberflus is close to being fired after this, right? Right? Matt Eberflus is 1 step closer. Part of me was almost like I didn't want them to win this game because I'm like, well, the McCaskey will find a way to be like, oh, well, you won a couple games down the stretch against tough teams. You finished 7-10. You beat the Packers, though. We'll keep you around for another year. Because I know the McCaskey would do something like that if they beat the Packers this year. So part of me is like, well, I mean, Matt Eberflus is 1 step closer to being fired because they won't fire him early. They won't fire him before January. They'll fire him after Week 18 when they lose to the Packers, Week 18. So part of me is like that as well. I'm just spitballing here. I don't really have any coherent thoughts about this. I'm just spitballing. So that's the way I kind of take away. It's like, yeah, the loss sucks. And the loss really sucks. But I'm almost like it's weird. Like, I'm almost like over it already. And that's probably because I haven't rewatched the play at all and seen all the discourse online and everything. I haven't seen any of that. So, that's probably why I feel a little bit better about it. But, it's going to be one of those things like, I just had this experience 4 weeks ago, not even a month ago, man. The Hail Mary happens. I can't stay off social media. I am just constantly looking at what the guys in the Chicago media are saying, what the national media is saying. Like, I'm just constantly listening and watching about this team. It's gonna happen again this week because of the wonderful, wonderful loss they just took. It's almost poetic that you've sucked against Green Bay for so long. You continue to have this futility. Somehow you're still in this game because your defense has made up a couple big plays. And frankly, the Packers, they got into the red zone almost every drive of the day, but they scored 3 touchdowns. They scored 3 touchdowns because they failed the 2-point conversion. But it's like, you forced Jordan Love to throw a pick in the red zone. You stopped him at the 2-yard line on 4th and goal. 2 crucial red zone stops where they don't settle for field goals. At the same time, you let 3 touchdowns. And that's how the Packers won this football game, scoring touchdowns. Bears scored 2 field goals. I don't know what you want me to say. I'm not going to sit here and deny the fact that they still completely stink. Because, there is a factor of they let the Packers walk down the field a couple times, and they totally did. But I'm offensively, I'm taking a lot of positives away. Caleb Williams didn't turn over the ball, and he looked competent in the pocket, aside from those 2 sacks late in the game. But he instantly made up for it by dodging a sack and turning a 3rd and 19 into a first down. So there is some positives to take away from this game, and I'm really trying hard, guys. I'm really trying hard to stay positive about this whole thing because this season's over. It's been over since they lost to Washington, honestly. I didn't think it was over when they lost to Washington, But after they played like that against Arizona, I was like, yeah, it's over. And then they lost to New England. That's when everyone's like, yeah, it's over. Like, just pack it up. Now you might be wondering, Alex, why are you trying to be optimistic about this? They lost to the Packers again. Why aren't you just screaming at the camera for 15 minutes and just calling it a day? I don't know, because I get tired of doing that stuff. It's just like, I've already got it all out of my system when it actually happened live. I'm like thinking about it from a much more, what the hell went wrong, other than of course, the one play that everyone's going to be watching over and over and over again. And I'm just like, defense crumbled in a couple of moments, but was also strong in a couple of moments. Caleb Williams had a couple moments where it's like, but he was overall pretty consistent today and made some of the best and biggest throws of his career so far. Just couldn't pick up the win. And it shows that, frankly, I'm like, how did they lose this game, right? They dominated time possession. They looked competent, like sometimes running the football. Like Swift had a couple moments where it's like, he's just not getting anywhere, and that's where they went to Roschon Johnson, which was a very smart decision. And I know that Shane Waldron wouldn't have done that. So, but like, I don't know. Defense let up. Offense had, they scored 2 touchdowns. They're moving the ball down methodically, but like, it's different when you control time of possession and you only score. They scored 4 times, and 2 of those are field goals. So that's why they were even there. I mean, both teams failed 2-point conversions, but if the Bears don't fail their 2-point conversion after the Swift touchdown, we're not even talking about the Packers going for 2. So let's go ahead. Everyone, come join me on memory lane as we talk about tainted memories. You see over here Caleb Williams making the 2 biggest throws of his NFL career, and DeAndre Swift just absolutely dusting the Packers defense. Yeah, they lost that game. Talk about Justin Fields throwing for 300 yards for the first time in his career, throwing 4 touchdowns. Another L. Bears up 11 against the Detroit Lions, who would end up going to the NFC Championship with 3 minutes to go. L. And up 3 points against a upstart Washington Commanders team, and a number 1 overall pick versus number 2 overall pick. L and a Hail Mary. I can keep going. Those are just examples from the last 2 years. I mean, there's more. We can talk about the double dunk. We can talk about the Bears being up by 17 or 20 or whatever it was on the road at Lambeau and losing. Talk about the 4th and 8 play. We can talk about the I Still Own You play. We can talk about... There's so many plays that and moments that we can talk about as just wow, they played so great, and they lost. I know. It actually baffles my mind how many games there have been under Matt Eberflus's tenure where the Bears as a team have looked pretty good, but still lost. There's probably enough. I'm not gonna list it out and think about it right now. There's probably more than the 10 fingers I have on my hands right now. And it's just at some point, if you're in the organization, if you're the top guys, you gotta say enough's enough. Matt Eberflus is now 14-30 as Bears head coach. He's now 0-7. This is 0-4. No, 0-5 against the Packers. Sorry, just had to think about that. Because apparently we have to think about that type of stuff now. And at some point, you got to be like, when is enough enough? When is enough enough? And you're just like, sorry, buddy, they're gone. I don't understand. I know that you don't want to pay him because he's still got another year under his contract. And if the Bears decide to keep him next year because they don't want to pay him to sit on the couch and go away from the organization, oh my God, don't even get me started because that is all on McCaskey. I'm going to be honest. Just as a neutral fan of everything, that was a really good game. And you're like, nah, it was 20-19. Why is it such a great game? Well, the drives, honestly, there weren't really enough drives to really run up the score much more. The Packers, I think, had 6 drives, and 5 of them went to the red zone. And they scored 3 touchdowns. The Bears, I think they probably had 6 or 7 drives, and they scored 2 touchdowns and 2 field goals. So it's the teams were scoring at a pretty regular rate, if you will, right? But there just weren't enough possessions to justify the score being up in the 30s. But it was still a really close, competitive game. It felt like the biggest chess match between the Bears and the Packers in a while. I haven't been able to say that. The Packers have always played down the Bears in Chicago for the last handful of years. But it didn't feel like they played down to competition. It felt like they played a hard-fought game. And it felt like the Bears played up to potential somewhat, especially after the last, 3 games. New offensive coordinator, just it was like night and day. The offense looked like competent, and they were scheming around the guys that they have on the team. Everyone was getting the football that really should have been getting the football on a game-to-game basis. So, I mean, there's a lot of positives offensively that I have because, you can say, I would love to see some of those touchdowns turn into field goals turn into touchdowns, and I agree. But right now, after getting sacked 9 times and only scoring 3 points against one of the worst defenses in the league, this is a massive upgrade. But it's you lost the football game. So you can't take anything positive away from this, right? Look, I'm at that point in my life where you see these A-list celebrities, athletes, musicians, actors. These guys are just younger than me now. I'm 22. Caleb Williams is the same age as me. This guy is 22 years old and has seen some of the most brutal Bears losses of all time. I mean, seriously, of all time. You've lost 10 in a row to the Packers. Caleb Williams leads you on a drive to possibly go out and win it. Field goal gets blocked. Caleb Williams drives down the field, puts the Bears in a position to win against his fellow rookie and the other Heisman Trophy that was selected in this draft, who has been thoroughly winning the Rookie of the Year race. Let up a Hail Mary. He's not on the field for these catastrophic meltdown plays. He's got to sit there and watch it happen like the rest of us. That's just brutal. And let me say it again. How many more times is Matt Eberflus going to survive a massively historic loss like this? Seriously, how much longer until they finally fire him? Talk about a wild finish. The Bears had an 83% chance to win. Then the Packers had an 80% chance to win. Then the Bears had a 70% chance to win. And then, of course, the blocked field goal happens. I mean, unbelievable. It's just back and forth. And frankly, if you're a neutral viewer, isn't that all you want out of a football game? A back and forth ending. The Bears-Packers game, they never left the vicinity of one score. It was a one-score game the entire time, which for me, it's sometimes I'm dude, these are some of the best games. Any one play can change the momentum and change the game, right? Every play feels more and more important in a one-score game the entire way. Every time they find a way to lose. And this is what bad teams and bad organizations do. Somehow, some way, they always find a way to lose. It was what happened with the Lions for years and years and years. And now the Bears are becoming that new team in the NFC North that just continuously finds ways to lose football games. It is just brutal. And you talk about the Packers, been a successful organization for 30 years. They find ways to win football games. Think about the Chiefs after they blocked a field goal last week against the Broncos. They find ways to win football games. That's what happens with the good organizations. And the Bears are not one of them. And nothing's going to change until there's a change up at the top. And if that takes Virginia McCaskey leaving this plane of existence, then so be it. But I can tell you right now, everyone in Chicago is fed up with this stuff. They are tired of seeing it. And some fans come to expect these types of games now, including myself. I am expecting Matt Eberflus to find beautiful, brand new ways to lose football games in the most head-scratching ways possible. It's almost like it's surreal. It's almost like it didn't feel like that was real. That's one of those things, same thing with the Hail Mary. It's almost one of those things where it just didn't even seem real. Did that just happen? Is that seriously how they lost a football game for the second time in 4 weeks? It just doesn't feel real. But oh, no. It is. And you Bears fans are going to have to take it and like it. So we go from one of the worst losses of all time, in my opinion, to just straight up depression, sitting on the chair and talking for half an hour. We go to just laughing at the incompetence of the organization. And now it's back to depression. It's now just back to, did that just happen? Of course it just happened. Of course it happened to this franchise. This team, they are ruining it. They're ruining my love for football. They really are. I hate this team. I hate them. This team is taking years off of my life. I don't know how much longer I can take this type of stuff and continue to have hope. Why ever get hopeful? Why ever get excited? Why ever feel joy with this franchise again? Why ever try to believe? Because we all know, in the end, it's never going to matter, dude. We're going to find a way to lose every time. So anyways, there's my obituary for the 2024 Chicago Bears. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, comment what you thought, continue the conversation, hit that subscribe button if you want to join me in my pain and misery, because we're all here together to watch a truly terrible organization play football. And yeah, I'll see you guys next week. Have a good one.